Hello Cherries fans, it is match day, a match day preview for you. Big game tonight at Dean Court. We're back at home for our third game in a row on the hallowed turf at Vitality Stadium. And we're facing a team just like our last opponents who have had a points deduction. As a result, they sit less pretty in the table than they probably should. Not positionally. It wouldn't make any difference if you added the points that they've been deducted, but they are one of the four sides that are concerned about going down. And the Royals come to Dean Court with interim managers and, well, form-wise, not much hope after their last three games, but they'll be looking to turn it around against the Cherries. And look, do you remember our last game? Yeah, we'll talk about that later on. They certainly started well, so we'll need to be on our toes tonight, but Cherries will certainly be invigorated after a much better performance at the weekend against Derby County. So, on this preview show, we've got Jeff Hayward, we've got Tom Jordan, and with myself, Sam Davis, here's what's coming up. So Jeff's going to join me to talk about the latest AFCB goings on, including Parker's touchline ban and a chat about what happened at the weekend against Derby. It was better, wasn't it? We'll also go over the Cherries team news as well. Of course, the opposition, we can't not talk about the Royals. We don't like to, but we're going to have to. So we'll get all the information and team news coming out of the MATCHDAY Stadium. Also, for away fans, we've got pubs and predictions. So if you're watching this wondering where to go, we'll tell you where to go and also give you a chance to leave your predictions as well. Plus, we got Tom Jordan to give us his thoughts about the match and also pick a chosen 11 as well. So then let's bring in Jeff Hayward. Jeff, how are you?
Pretty good, actually, Sam. Looking forward to tonight's match.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Saturday was much improved all round, wasn't it? On the pitch, in the stands, it was just a much better atmosphere.
There was a much better feeling around the ground. There was a much greater level of intensity from the players. There was a recognition that they needed to perform for 90 minutes, and they did. I thought Derby helped us because they were a bit more open than I expected and allowed us to play a bit more, even though they did look quite a bit of a threat. I mean, when was the last time that we had less possession than the opposition in a game?
Yeah, and it's all about the control apparently, but we did the job and we're more clinical on the ball as well. I thought up front we certainly looked a bit more lively, and it's funny that midfield three, we were all a bit concerned with Lerma coming back. He's been used to being like deep lying, but we've seen before that Jeff can do a job in that position, and I thought he almost released Cantwell. It was brilliant.
It was. He also helped with the press, I thought, really well. You know, if you've got Jeff closing you down, it's a different proposition to, well, Cantwell and Billing is different to Cantwell and Lerma. And I think it really helped. He was also physical when you needed him to be, and just gave us a bit more solidity in the middle. I felt we were less at risk from Derby when they did get the ball moving forward. I mean, they had a lot of the ball, but they didn't create too many chances. Travis had 2 saves to make. And I think we just looked a bit more solid. I thought Lewis Cook was excellent too, actually.
Yeah, I noticed that when we were in possession, it was a case of Lewis Cook could be that deep lying midfielder, and then you've got Lerma and Cantwell moving further up the pitch. But when out of possession, it was almost like Lerma could then just come back a bit, and it was almost like a double pivot alongside Lewis Cook, and I thought that worked really well. And it you know, I think Phil Bill's going to struggle to get back into the side at this rate because he's been lethargic of late, but I thought that too did really well. But also on the wings as well. I mean, Jaden Anthony, his form has probably not been great over the last few games, but on Saturday he turned up and he was pivotal to our performance, really.
He was a real live wire, especially after Jay-Z came on, his mate.
Agreed.
They seemed to spark each other, which was terrific. And I thought generally the system that we play can be slow, it was slow, slow, quick, quick, slow. And that variation is super important to our success. And the speed of passing the ball through the midfield, which Lewis Cook was very good at and Cantwell was very good at, as well as getting it wide quicker so that players like Anthony and Christie had a bit more 1v1, sort of situations. And that's not happened too many times in the last few weeks. And it was really noticeable that when they were given those opportunities, there was the overlapping fullback thing going on again, which was great. And the taking on players. I mean, Christie was cutting inside and taking shots, which was great to see. And Jay-Z was doing the occasional nutmeg in the game, which was lovely to see. Taking players on, being brave. That's what you want.
The occasional nutmeg. I mean, I think Kirk put out a tweet on his personal account, and I think from where he documented the game in the North Stand, he captured at least 3 or 4 on camera, and Jaden himself actually quote tweeted it as well and replied to it, and and there was greater synergy with the fans on Saturday, and I've spoken about this at the end of the vlog on our last video, but there were a number of little things that happened during that day, the video before kickoff. Of course, previously we always had the Together Anything is Possible video, but that was of course voiced by Eddie. Obviously they've redone it with players now. That created a much better atmosphere. Having us on the pitch, not sure if it was anything premeditated, but it seemed to create a good feeling. It didn't for me personally, but let's not talk about that.
No.
And also, Scott Parker in the warm-ups he's come close to the North Stand than he ever has before, giving everyone a round of applause. Stayed on the pitch at the end a little bit longer. It may be sort of against what he usually does, but as fans of a club that, let's face it, is small, we appreciate that feeling because we are a community club, and it always goes to help the good feeling, doesn't it?
100% agree with that, and some of that is good PR, but it's important and necessary to do that. And I think everybody felt better about the performance on Saturday. Everybody felt better about the connection with the players and the coaching staff and Scott Parker. That's what we all want, and we need them as much as they need us. And it was nice to have a recognition that is the case, because I don't know, there's no point in us picking a fight with the coaching staff and the players when we're in the position we're in. Honestly, if we want to succeed, we're in second place. We're in a good place to succeed. It's going to be counterproductive. Ditto. There's no point in them picking a fight with us, because why do you want to upset the customers? You don't. So,
whilst it wasn't the perfect performance against Derby, do you get the feeling that there's more to come, and that match could almost be a turning point for us? Yes.
We've said that a number of times this season, though. The consistency is a bit of an Achilles heel for us this season. Having said that, we went 15 games unbeaten at the start. But it's since we lost that first game to Preston, we've been a little bit up and down, both in terms of performance levels, and our inconsistency from one half to another has been consistent. So, that game on Saturday reminded me a lot of the last 90-minute performance, which I would say was probably QPR away, where we actually were committed for the entire 90 minutes at that level of intensity. And that's what you do need in the Championship to be successful. So hopefully the penny has dropped for the players, that's what they need to do every game. It's whether we can do that consistently with the run of games that we have got coming up.
Absolutely. But let's look at the league table though, Jeff. And look, it looks better, doesn't it? We're above Huddersfield Town. I mean, that match against them on Saturday is going to be huge. I mean, I don't know whether the fact they've reduced their ticket price to £10 is for them to get more fans in and get a better atmosphere. They probably know how pivotal it is, but it looks so much healthier, and it puts the emphasis on needing a result again tonight, doesn't it? 3 points would be huge for us. Yeah,
this game tonight against Reading is a must-win to make it more comfortable for that visit to Huddersfield on Saturday. We cannot afford to drop a couple of points tonight and then go to Huddersfield and lose, because that gives them a real incentive. So we've got to win, and then we could afford to get beaten on Saturday and still be in a really good place. So, not that I see that as a probability; it's a possibility. I actually feel if we can win the next two games, it's then becomes about who wins the title, us or Fulham, and that's a much more encouraging, relaxing conversation for fans to have.
Okay, so let's just chat very briefly on Parker's presser. Well, because of the quick turnaround in games, as I said on previous shows, there are probably going to be fewer press conferences, certainly not one before every single game, but there's been a lot of news and a lot of quotes that have been emanating out of the club over the last sort of 24 hours or so, one of which is Scott Parker's ban. It's been confirmed. He's been suspended for the touchline for one match and fined £2,000 following that breach of FA Rule E3. The manager admitted that his language during the 90th minute of our game against Preston was abusive, insulting and improper. And he also accepted the standard penalty as well. Ultimately, he decided not to appeal the charge, accepting the one match ban, which means the assistant Matt Wells will likely take charge of the side in Parker's place today. So, Jeff, whilst you're still here, just a view on that. It's going to be interesting to see how Matt Wells does. I mean, one of the fortunate things about the Vitality Stadium is that it's not massive. Therefore, whether he'll need a radio kit in order to get his instructions to the various people on the bench, I'm not too sure. He could probably shout stuff and the players will hear it anyway.
Well, I do wonder, touchline bans, are they really effective? Because they don't actually stop the manager communicating with his coaching staff. And you're right, the Vitality is like, well, you can be sat at 10 rows back and you could still hear probably what that person's saying if you're down on the bench. So I'm not sure it's really going to be a huge deal. If there was a game you wanted it to be, probably Reading at home would be the game you wanted, rather than an away game at Huddersfield, for example. So, it's annoying, but let's not expect too many dramatic changes. We'll put what does Parker offer just by being on the touchline? He's got a presence there that the players can see. Yeah. He probably is shouting at them, but I'm sure Matt Wells can stand in and relay those messages pretty effectively.
Brilliant stuff. Jeff, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Coming up next, we're going to check out the Cherries team news and some other press clippings from the week as well. But if you haven't already, here's what you can do. So, as myself and Jeff alluded to, Cantwell seemed to have the shackles off, and I think that Lerma possibly helped him at the weekend. When you think about it, it makes more sense, really, because Lerma can be pressing, can be creative, but he has got that defensive mind, so it means Cantwell has got a lot of freedom. And when asked what the difference was between the game at the weekend and previous matches, for example, Peterborough, he spoke to Jack Tanner from the Daily Echo, and he said, I think it was our structure that was different. It was the way we want to operate in the sense of off the ball and on the ball. I think there were parts that were missing against Peterborough, even though we still had a good amount of chances. I think we showed on Saturday that that's been patched up and covered up. I think there's a certain amount down to heart, want, will, fight, whatever you want to call it in the Championship. I think us showing what we did on Saturday against a good opposition, Derby, to beat them 2-0, was a really good base to now kick on again. Excellent words from Todd Cantwell. And also, if you see Jacob's piece on Cherries Live as well, part of Dorset Live, you can see a really candid interview about his life down in Bournemouth and the fact that family played a massive part in him making the decision to come here. You never know. We've got that chance to buy him if we want to at the end of the season. Maybe after all, he could be a good fit. One of the men at the moment at the weekend was Jayden Anthony, and I thought that he had a phenomenal performance, as myself and Jeff alluded to, and Scott Parker agreed. He spoke about the 22-year-old's brilliant piece of skill which led to Solanke's opener, and Parker told the Daily Echo, "I've not seen it back, but Jayden Anthony is a player that goes under the radar massively, to be quite honest with you. What he does for this team is nothing short of incredible at times, because in possession, I think we see his quality, his calmness, his silkiness when he makes good decisions at times. But the stuff that goes unnoticed is probably the defensive side, what he brings to this team and what he brings to all of the side. I thought he epitomised everything that we were all about. If there was one player you wanted to look at in terms of that, it's probably a bit harsh on all of them, but Jayden was superb. I was very pleased with him." Jayden Anthony also has, via the AFCB.co.uk website, spoke about how it was much better in terms of atmosphere at Dean Court on Saturday, and he said, "The fans being loud and proud does help us a lot. It gives us the energy that we need, and it's been massive for us. Hopefully it'll be the same on Tuesday night." Yeah, we need an absolute raucous atmosphere tonight at Dean Court, because look, we're entering squeaky bum time, 12 games to go, and this one is a big one for us, and it's a good warmer-upper for what will be a huge match against the Terriers at the John Smith Stadium at the weekend as well. So, yeah, let's get on it tonight. Right, AFC Bournemouth team news. Philip Billing and Adam Smith, of course, they are both suspended for this one still. In the game against Derby County, Leif Davis had to be substituted due to an injury. He's hoping it is not as serious as it looked initially. Jamal Lowe did take a knock after coming on as a substitute, but however, it doesn't look like that will affect him being named in the squad. The AFC Bournemouth player to watch, well, you got to say Dominic Solanke, scoring his 21st league goal at the weekend, and he'll be wanting to add to that total tonight, I'm certain. He looked a lot sharper than he did against Peterborough United. Jayden Anthony, of course, amazing, had a lively game there on that side, so he's another player that we should be keeping our eyes on today, and we're pretty much certain that those two are going to start. Right, let's check out the opposition info, shall we? Well, I don't know what it is this season about managers getting sacked after wins, but it happened to the Royals. They parted company with Paunovic in February, but previous to that, Reading, to be honest, did have a disastrous run of league results with 1 draw and 7 defeats, including a 7-0 drubbing by Fulham. Unlike Fulham to score loads of goals, is it? He was replaced by 2 interim managers by the way of Paul Ince, brought in for his first job in 8 years. Last time he was manager with Blackpool. And also Michael Gilks, who was in charge of the Reading Academy. I think Michael Gilks is the assistant, really. Paul Ince heading up things there at the MATCHDAY Stadium. But in their first game in charge, well, they had a 2-1 home win against Birmingham City, which was fairly impressive-ish. No, not really. But their last 3 games, 4-1 defeat away at Blackpool and a home defeat 1-0 against Millwall. Their latest game on Saturday away at Nottingham Forest, it ended in a 4-0 defeat. The first goal being conceded after just 17 seconds. So, since we played Reading last at their ground, that was at the end of October, wasn't it? Was it a Saturday night? I think it might have been moved to a Saturday night. It was certainly a nighttime game anyway. The Cherries won that 2-0. Since then, away from home, Reading have won 3, drawn 1 and lost 7. So, yeah, the away form has not been pretty. But, yeah, what a great night that was at the MATCHDAY Stadium. Let's relive it.
Will Kelly get back stick. Dop, dop, dee, dop, 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 Solanke. Dop, dop, dee, dop, 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 Solanke. AFC Bournemouth, we score where we want. We score where we want. We score where we want. We're AFC Bournemouth, we score where we want. Yeah!
Oh, love it. Great night. Really enjoyed that game. And at that point, full of confidence, we don't lose and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, speaking about Reading, the last time we played them at Dean Court, do you remember how it went? We alluded to it earlier. In the first half, it was live on Sky. I think it was a lunchtime game. And we were 2-0 down at half time. It wasn't a pretty game, but we certainly came back, didn't we? We won 4-2. I think Lewis Cook scored the goal to make it 3-2. Absolute perler from the edge of the box, clipping the crossbar and going in. What a good performance. Then Dom Solanke made it 4 when the keeper came out. They got into a bit of a physical battle, but Dom came out on top and then stroked it with his instep into an empty net to send them going home pointless. Really good match that. In our home leagues in all against Reading, we've won 27, drawn 15 and lost 11. So the stats, at least at Dean Court, are on our side. In terms of the Reading team news, Femi Aziz, Felipe Araruna, Dejan Tetek, Karl Hein, Baba Rahman and Alen Halovic have all been out injured recently. Tom Holmes and John Swift missed the Nottingham Forest game through COVID. They are doubts for tonight, but we'll have to see how they cope. Now, one of the players to watch, of course, is John Swift. Whether he's recovered or not, we certainly don't know. Strong, all-round midfield player. I think many a Bournemouth fan thought we might have been going in for him. We didn't. But he's their leading scorer with 11 goals. Midfielder, leading scorer. He also leads with 13 assists as well, which is some achievement in a side that has actually really struggled this season. If he plays, the forward Lucas João, the first part of the season he was injured, came back in January. And then after 2 substitute appearances, he started the next 9 games scoring 6 goals, including 5 and 6 in February, which won him the Championship Player of the Month. So he's going to be a threat if he plays as well. So keep your eyes out on the team sheet at 6:45 because we don't really want him named. For a neutral view, shall we hear what Ben HD has to say? Always intrigued on what a neutral has to say in terms of the predictions. I've got a feeling he might go for a Cherries win. Come on, Ben.
Bournemouth up against Reading. I'm going to back Bournemouth for a 3-0 home victory. I think they look better this weekend against Derby, going up against a Reading side who are looking paper thin at the back at the moment, and I don't think that Ince going in there has had the desired impact so far.
That's Ben HD's prediction. Click the card at the top and make sure you subscribe to his channel. Excellent YouTuber there. Right, the man in charge for today, Lee Doherty. He is the man with the whistle today. He's officiated 1 game this season, which was away at Luton. So we won't talk about that. Tom did get free beer at Luton though, and that segues nicely into our pubs and predictions. So if you're a Reading fan and you're watching this, we have got an away fans guide. Click the card at the top of the screen and that will tell you whereabouts you can drink before the game. And if you're a Cherries fan, you've got lots of choices as well. The DC Lounge is open to any fans with accessibility issues in the East Stand. The Great Escape, of course, is the outside bar. The weather should be favourable with no rain tonight, so if you want a swift off before the game, you can do that. Drink in the concourse, or of course there's the 1910 at the club, but there are a wealth of pubs in and around Dean Court, which are all about 15 minutes walk away, but you got plenty of choice, including the QP, the Firkin Shed, the Cricketers, the Bell, many more besides. Check out our away fans guide for information on where you can go. Mellow in Boscombe will be probably where you're sent if you're getting off the coach, and that's another place you can drink at, which is just 10 minutes up the road. Right, in terms of your predictions, I'm going to give you mine. We'll get Tom's very, very shortly. I think we'll win 3-1 tonight. I think Reading will probably score. However, I do think our firepower should look amazing. How a win has just made our philosophies change completely. I'm thinking we're going to get a result tonight, and I think Dom Solanke would be nice to see him bag a brace. Elsewhere, maybe Toddy can get his first goal in red and black tonight as well. Who knows? Either way, I'm thinking we're going to do it. What's your predictions? Let us know in the comments below. What we'll do is pin the comment that gets it right. So you can have your name in lights at the top of the comment section. Put your score and also the scorers as well. And if you get it right, we'll pin your comment there. We'd love to know what you got to think. Right, coming up next, I think we need to pick our team. So, how's it going to go tonight then? We are really intrigued to see what Scott Parker... I mean, I think we possibly know the side. However, Teja's here to give his thoughts on what happened at the weekend and what he wants to see tonight. Maybe even a cheeky little prediction. And whilst he's talking, we're going to put up his chosen team as well. Here we go.
All right. Another game at Dean Court. And hopefully we can have a performance like the one against Derby. It's I'm really intrigued to see how we get on in this game. I think on paper it looks nice, as did Preston and Peterborough. So we've got to be wary of that. I think, listen, we were much better against Derby. I thought the intensity was better. We certainly played with a higher tempo. We were more fluid, and it was really good to see. And that was the same in the stands. It was bouncing in there. So hopefully we can do that again under the lights this time around. But I'm intrigued because I think it's easy, isn't it, to think of the last two home games. Very quick turnaround. Peterborough game was obviously not what we wanted. We looked quite laboured, quite conservative, and played into their hands really, and struggled to break them down. Against Derby, as I say, we played a lot more expressively, a lot more on the front foot, and just urgency was there. The interesting thing for me is that Peterborough obviously nicked a goal and played with a low block and frustrated us. Derby, I felt, due to their philosophy, really tried to play from the back and probably enticed us really to have that higher press and nick the ball off them and take advantage of their errors defensively, which suited us. So if you're Reading, you look at them two games, and you think we got to try and frustrate Bournemouth. We got to sit off them and have that low block, and it'll be really interesting to see how we deal with that. It's quite easy to think, well, just play like we did against Derby. That works. Peterborough didn't, but opposition does play into that. So we need to keep that high tempo going and really get at them and not get into a safe, conservative way of playing with all the ball but not really doing much. I think it's evident that, yes, Scott talks a lot about control in games, but we had less of the ball against Derby. We had less possession in that game, and we were by far better. It's what you do with it, isn't it? And it's how you go about it. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing how we get on. I think we'll have too much, hopefully. In terms of Reading, obviously having a tough season, probably as anticipated really after they really surprised people last season. They got beat quite heavily at the weekend at Forest, but we know that can happen. They're a good side, Forest, and yeah, it'll be interesting how they go about it. Whether they have Jowling in the line or Mate, mate, or whatever you call him. But they're both strikers that are a bit of a handful, bit of a nuisance, like to get in behind and bully the centre half. So that'll be a tough test for us. And they have got experienced players. Danny Drinkwater, obviously in the middle of the park, give him time on the ball. He's a good footballer. And we know too much about Scott Dan, don't we? Especially from set pieces, from his time at Palace, scored quite a few against us. So yeah, we're going to have to be wary of that. We're going to have to, go about our business really, but just take the game to them. I don't expect too many changes. I expect Leif Davis to obviously come out and Zamora to come in, which worked in our favour at the weekend. And like I say, we were much better, but we definitely have the rub of the green. I think you needed the rub of the green in football matches, especially when you're going for promotion. We had it when we got promoted before in terms of we've rarely had any injuries. And I think the last 2 wins we've had, Derby and Stoke, both games. Derby game, obviously, we were forced not to play Billing and it ended up working. Davis was struggling. We were forced into taking him off, which obviously worked. They probably should have had a penalty and a chance to go 1-0 up. And against Stoke, they went down to 10 men, and I don't think they should have. So we have had the rub of the green, which you need. So, we still need to be on it. Reading are no mugs. They'll come here, they're scrapping for their lives, as with Derby and Peterborough. So, yeah, really big game. But I'm hoping, we get it bouncing again in there. That was important, as Scott alluded to. So get the Dean Court bouncing. And yeah, I won't be on the pitch at half-time trying to hit the crossbar and embarrassing myself. A little less than Sam Davis, by the way. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hope everyone enjoys and get another 3 points and then on to Huddersfield. And, I'm not being funny, but this week's massive. If we can beat Reading and avoid defeat, in my opinion, against Huddersfield, then I think we've got one foot in promotion. So really exciting. Let's look forward to this week and kick on from here, and positive vibes amongst the place again. That's what we need. Up the Cherries. Come on.
Cheers, Tej. Thank you, buddy. Looking forward to tonight as ever. If you want to come on the fan cams, we're going to be outside the 1910 bar. So just opposite that is an exit to the car park. We're just going to be on the other side of the fence. What I would say is if you're waiting to get on camera, can you at least let people who are trying to get out from the Ted McDougall stand, because sometimes you do block the gangway a little bit and you need people to get out. So stay as close to the fence as you possibly can, because I don't want us to be a hindrance to the club more than we probably are already. All right, so just make sure you stay compact and tight in these COVID times, but just make sure people can walk through okay. But looking forward to having your opinions. If you haven't been on before, don't worry. All it is me and a microphone, and you can chat. Even if you want to do 30 seconds, it's absolutely fine. I'd love to have your opinion on, and I think Tiggs did it really well at the weekend as well by getting loads of youth on, and maybe as a nighttime game that might not happen tonight, but we will see. It was great to have you all on, and then the Matchday vlog is coming your way tomorrow morning as well. Look, wherever you're coming from, safe travels to Dean Court tonight. Fingers crossed it's going to be a journey that is completely worth it. Best wishes also to the Reading lot who are walking and have been walking from the Militsky Stadium, or the Select Car Leasing Stadium, to Dean Court. They'll still be walking as you're watching this video. If you see them on the road, make sure you give them a honk, and it's all in aid of a good cause. You can see a link at the top of the screen which gives you more information about what they're doing. I think Talking Cherries, Simon Kay is also going to join them on a walk as well. Fantastic stuff they're doing, and make sure you put some money in their buckets, or at least donate on their page. Great cause. Right, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and click the like button. We appreciate this preview has gone out much later than usual. It's a tight schedule, so for some of the previews from now until the rest of the season, we might have this kind of format as opposed to me and Tom drinking J2Os in the Parrot Parley. But we appreciate your company for the last half hour or so, and looking forward to seeing you tonight. Up the Cherries.